Hi everyone, another foundation wear test because I'm gonna get these out during foundation season, tell you what. And today it's gonna be the newish, pretty new, Burberry Beyond Wear Perfecting Matte Foundation. I'm very excited about this one. Burberry is going through a rebranding right now. All of their older products are gone from the website and they're being re-released, brand new forms, brand new formats, new formulas, things like that. So far we have lipsticks again, we have the new foundation, a primer, I believe there's still a glow foundation available on their website, and then we have a new powder and a new eyeshadow, and I'm going to show you both of those. So this is the newer packaging for, I guess, anything that's coming in this size and shape. This is the eyeshadow quad that I have. This is an 04 Midnight, so I will be using that today. And then they also came out with a setting powder, and I have mine in 02 Medium. And this is what that looks like. Very pretty embossing. It kind of mirrors what they're doing everywhere else. They are quite light. They're not super weighted. This is all plastic, none of it's metal, but it's still there's a lot of detail here. I like that a lot. And just for a comparison, this is what their older packaging used to look like. So I'm going to be using this today as well. This is a highlight, but you can see it was that gunmetal and then their Burberry tartan printed on it. They're just going through this big rebranding. I'm very curious to see kind of the order that they come out with new stuff. I actually did see a sneak peek today over on the Red app, which is like great if you want to see luxury beauty before it's released in the US, of Burberry used to have like a very glowy, thin, slippy lipstick, and it looks like they're coming out with the new ones, and the packaging is gorgeous. I'm so excited. I'm also really excited about this like new Burberry kind of rebrand, because Burberry used to do such like beautiful limited edition objects, and then they stopped, and then they started getting pulled out of retailers like Nordstrom, and they used to be available at Sephora. Kind of forgot about that. They're no longer in Sephora. That's been a while. So this next step of them rebranding, relaunching, they're now available at Selfridges. An easy to access retailer in the UK is carrying them. I'm hoping they come back to Nordstrom or something in the US. We'll see. Anyway, on to the foundation. I've done my skin prep. I've done sunscreen. I will insert a picture of all of the skin prep that I used so you have an idea of what it meant for me to prep my skin today. I have very dry skin that is prone to be easily dehydrated. It also really loves chemical exfoliation to stay smooth, particularly around my mouth and my chin. That tends to be my trouble areas where things will catch. I have used this already. Definitely a matte finish. It doesn't seem to bother my skin. So it used to be that a matte finish would kind of like suck all the moisture straight out, and this one doesn't do that. A lot of the newer matte foundations don't do that. I think that's why so many brands, they're coming out with their new matte foundations, because the technology has changed and they're just able to do it a little bit better. Looking at the website, this retails for $60, comes in 28 shades, 29 shades. It claims to be long-lasting 24-hour wear with weather protection, which they're calling their Trench Protect technology, which is an ode to their classic Burberry trench coats. Whatever. Lightweight, buildable, medium to full, resistant to water, humidity, sweat, heat. So I'm not really testing a lot of that out today. It is sunny and beautiful, but I don't know if I'll be going outside a whole lot. I should go outside. I should go to the park with the dog or whatever. But anyway, it's not going to be like a very sweaty, it'll be like 68. I am a sweaty person, so 68 does mean I can get sweaty fairly easily, but not if I'm just going out and like basking. Just gonna do a pump on the back of my hand. I have the shade 40 Light Neutral. So it's fairly thick, but it's still, gravity is working on it. So it's not the thinnest, it's not the thickest, kind of right in the middle. I think on camera it will appear to be a decent shade match. I probably could have gone like a shade darker just with warmer months and more sunshine coming up, but I think this will be fine. So right off the bat with a sponge, coverage is light, you know? It's not a very heavy, you can see all those spots still, you can see this spot still, but it does, you know, blend in very nicely. I can get a little closer. It does blend in really quickly and easily. And I'm gonna do one side with a sponge and one side with a brush just to see what that initial layer of coverage looks like, and then we'll go back in and see if we can build it up. So a pretty good shade match. It's actually a little bit more my skin tone, like my face skin tone, than, I'm not necessarily trying to match my body, but if I get too far off from the shade on my body, my chest and my arms, it'll look like a pale floating head, and I hate that. So I do try to find something kind of in the middle. I'm gonna grab another pump, and I tend to like dotting on my face because if I go straight into like that pump on the back of my hand, it'll concentrate in the brush or the sponge, and I just find that I have to use a little bit more. I will say for this being labeled a light neutral, it does lean a little yellow. I think it's blending well with a brush, which is nice. You can see, I do think it gives a little bit more coverage right away. And part of that is the opacity. So this side just looks a little bit yellower than this side. And that's because the opacity is higher, the coverage is higher on that brush side. And look at all the redness in the center of my face that I still need to fix. I'm just gonna go in with the sponge, mostly because I like the sensation of the sponge better around this part of my face. All right, so right now what I'm seeing is on the planes of my face, it's doing really well on both sides. Again, that's that weird little patch on my skin that just the coverage, don't know. However, I am getting some gathering here and here. Problem areas, it's oddly not doing that bad around my chin, which is kind of funny to me. So it's picking up on different parts of my face that I'm used to having trouble with. It doesn't look great on my nose, but a lot of stuff doesn't look great on my nose. Just that weird nose skin texture. I don't know what that is. Where did this bat hair come from? My God. This is the Sephora 56 brush, and it's just smaller, so I'm going in a little bit more. Let's see how much we can build up the coverage here. We'll look at this red spot. And then these are like little freckle mole things that have. And that definitely did reduce some of it, but this isn't gonna be that kind of full coverage that blanks everything out at all. So even with building, you're not gonna get that. And that might be a good thing or a bad thing, depending on who you are. I tend to like it because that like full coverage is just a lot. It's just a lot for me, for my preferences. And I'm not so good at makeup, but I'm great at like building my face back. So I like having some transparency. Ooh, this wasn't on purpose, but we're gonna try some new things today because I have them handy, and why not? So this is the new Guerlain Terracotta Concealer. I have the shade 2N, and I just got this yesterday. I have not used it yet. Look at how beautiful the detail work is. And this is glass, like frosted glass. It's very heavy. So that's the shade 2N. In the foundation, I had the shade 3N. So I went a little bit lighter for concealer. Got this at Nordstrom. And I'm gonna use a sponge on that. I have I just threw the box. I was so excited. Terracotta Concealer, Natural Perfection Concealer, 24-hour wear. Why is everyone saying that now? No transfer. That's all I got. That's all the box wants to tell me. Oh, no, it's not. Okay, so the long-lasting power of a liquid concealer, the blurring radiance of a correcting powder. Anyway. blends out real nice. To anyone who has cats, how do you keep your cat out of your makeup stuff? Because the amount of cat hair floating around all the time is just absurd. I feel like I'm really struggling to cover up the redness around my nose today. So I'm gonna go in there. I really want this to be about the foundation, not about the concealer, since this like super first impressions about the concealer. But we'll see. That's why I don't want to add a lot of it, is what I'm saying. That helped a little. It did start to look heavy, the foundation here, where I tried to build up that coverage. So I'm gonna go in with a sponge and just see if I can get that to look a little nicer. So while it does build, it might be skin type dependent on whether or not it suits you to build it up. Aside from the cat hair scattered around, I think that looks pretty good. I don't think I need to powder a ton just based on what this looks like, but I'm going to so that we can use this new powder. And I'm gonna go into just that white in the middle and put that right here. I think it's a little brightening. I think it's supposed to be translucent, but there's a little bit of opacity there. And then I'm gonna kind of mix them together, which I think is the intention. That's very awkward to do that in that direction, but I just wanted you to see what I was doing. Okay, and then I'll set here. Oh, well dang. Compare this side to this side. I hope that's picking up on camera because it did definitely like blur right here compared to right here. It might look a little drier on this side, but it definitely is blurred. You know, I've touched this powder, but I haven't like looked at it up close like this. I'm kind of surprised. We'll leave it just on one side of my face though. And this foundation sets down pretty well. Like there's ever so slightly a little bit of tackiness there, but not a lot. So that's good. So yeah, we'll just leave that side powdered. We won't powder this side. I have some other new things to try. I'm very excited. And this is the part of me that's like, no, don't try them. Take pictures first. And then the other part of me that's like, just try them. Just try them. That's why you got them, to try them, to use them. Okay, so Guerlain blushes. I'm so excited. I love blush so much. I really like Guerlain. They make some of my favorite, well, I guess foundations, because that's the big thing that they do. Obviously their bronzers, very well known. I really like their bronzers. They work really well for me. So super excited to see the blushes. And then the other thing I got, I should not have got this. Okay, I should not have. It was a moment of weakness, which is kind of like how my life is built right now. But it's the new YSL All Hours Bronzer, Hyper Bronze. I have mine in the shade 02, which was Buff Dune or something like that. It just has 02 on the back. And this is that shade. And it looks a little warmer on camera, I think, than it does in real life. It actually looks quite neutral to my naked eye. This is the shade of the blush. It is light nude 00. I got this one. I'm suspicious of this one, which is why I'm trying it first. I got two other shades, but this one is so light looking in the pan, and it's that kind of shade that I would look at and be like, that's barely gonna show up on me. That's not for me. But I felt the same way about some of the Armani powder blushes, and they ended up being like beautiful on me. So I figured I'd go for it. I also got Deep Nude and Deep Coral. Those are the other two shades I got. Okay, so for the bronzer, I'm gonna use this giant Sonia G brush. Is the Niji Pro. And I've seen some people swatch this, which apparently I'm not gonna do for you first. We're going in blind. I've never touched this powder. The excitement. Okay, that's nice. It's, so I had seen people use it and talk about it being like a very buildable formula, which I'm kind of into because I can really overdo bronzer and then I just don't think it looks that great. And so something that's more buildable. Also, this came out first in France and I watched a lot of French TikToks, and people were apparently instructed to do like an L and you bronze within the L. I'm not doing that just because it seems hard to coordinate, but I understand them. I understand the goal. Is this fragranced? Maybe. Kind of just smells like makeup. But yeah, okay. Very nice, subtle. I think, yeah, you definitely could go, I could have gone a shade deeper. I also saw that like the next shade was more warm and I like a more neutral bronze, but then I didn't want to go to shade 4 because that felt too deep and then I wouldn't have this like beautiful, reckless, light-handed bronzer that I was after, so here we are. I'll touch the bronzer just for you. Whoops, oh my gosh. So, very thin, very soft, and I mean that in the most complimentary way. What other bronzers should I compare it to? Let's just real quick, because I have these within arm's reach. This is the Gucci bronzer in 03. So warmer, deeper, more pigmented. And then I have the Gucci bronzer in 01, which is that like rosy shade. So definitely a difference in tone. This formula is clearly different, but this tone is so different than that one. This is more orange, more neutral, more rosy. And then I have the Hermes in 03 Sahara, which is kind of a multi-tone, but you're meant to kind of grab it all, so that's what I'm gonna do there. I really like I like all of these. So that's Sahara. You can kind of buff it out. See, it's quite like the Gucci actually, but maybe more red. So I don't know if that helps. I hope it helps. Can I build up that YSL swatch at all? Not really. Interesting. Doesn't want to be swatched, it wants to be used. Blush. I think these are fairly hard pressed. Yeah, you can barely tell that I'm putting my brush in there. And there's like no kick up. Very fragranced, very Guerlain Terracotta fragrance. If you hate that, you'll hate this. I like it. Ooh, okay. So, this is quite light. Should I get a denser brush? I'm gonna use this one. This is Sony G. It's just because it's smaller, it will place pigment more precisely. So it's not that you can't see it. I hope you can see it. It is this very sweet little flush of blush. And so the other reason that I was interested in this particular shade is because I tend to go bam blush. It's just in my nature, just how I work. Like I was saying with those Armani blushes, I bought the lightest one simply because it was available. Don't do that. And I figured, why not? I'll give it a shot. And then I was like, oh, well, that's actually quite nice because again, since I tend to be very like bam blush, then I go to do other things with my makeup and I'm shocked and horrified because everything ends up being really intense, which is almost never my goal. Like I want one thing to be really intense usually, but I apply my blush first, go in really hard, and then do an eye look and am shocked that they clash. They don't clash on everybody. They clash on me because I'm still developing my understanding of color theory and how to pair things together. But this is very nice. And it's definitely, again, kind of like the YSL bronzer. It's more about being sheer and easy to build rather than right away you have all the color you're gonna get and you have to blend it out. And I guess that just hasn't been my general experience with a lot of makeup lately, because this feels kind of refreshing to be like, oh yeah, you can just keep adding a layer until it's what you want, instead of being like, oh no, I have to be really careful to try to get what I want. And so I am a little surprised at how much this builds without looking bad. Like, it doesn't look heavy or powdery or anything. It just looks like blush. How sweet. I like that a lot. I'm gonna leave it here. I like the bronzer. I like the bronzer a lot. I think that's like a very natural bronze on me. I'm so excited. Okay, I'm gonna use this Burberry quad. I have filmed this video about the Burberry foundation already, and it came out very blurry and kind of a mess. So I'm doing this again, which means I've already done a look with this eyeshadow quad on camera, and in reviewing that footage, I hated it. Absolutely hated it, and I think it's because I tried to use all 4 colors in the quad and like just go for it. And I don't know what it was about it that I didn't like. I mean, I know it just looked bad, but I don't know if it looked bad to me because it just looked discordant with the other things on my face, or if it was that I went too heavy, that I made it too gray. I'm not really quite sure, but either way, lesson learned. And I'm gonna do something different, which means I'm probably not gonna use all the shades today. I'm swatching it for you right now. I guess I can. So these are 2 shimmer shades, which are very close. That's that brown, which is kind of a satiny. You can see a little bit of satin in the pan. And then that's that kind of charcoal color. And I think it's this charcoal color that makes things go awry from my perspective. It's not a bad color, I just think I went too heavy-handed with it. And these are like very subtle satins. I wish that they had gone for it like the YSL quads, which are gorgeous and have like one, very stunning topper per thing. But they didn't. They went subtle satin, which has its place. It's fine. It's not, I'm not mad about it. I'm just sad about it. Okay. I'm gonna go in with this shade right here, the kind of darker satin. I'm gonna go in with this kind of builder brush, and I'm just gonna put it all over the lid. So it's kind of like a taupey silver, maybe like a little bit of rosiness, not rose, but you get it. I really struggled like deciding which of the Burberry quads to pick up, because the one that was really speaking to me was dusty caramel, I don't know, the dusty one. And but it didn't have any of the satins in it. From what I could tell, it was just matte, and I really wanted to try the satin formula. The lightest one, some people were saying it was too light and they were similar to my skin depth, and I was like, well, I don't want to do that then. And then the other one looked kind of pinky in some pictures but not in others, and I'm not really a pink eyeshadow person, so I just couldn't really decide, so I went with this one because it was the most different for me. I kind of regret it. I don't think that this is the most flattering eye shade on me. It just kind of looks a little too cool, even though it's not that cool toned. I can't quite figure it out. So I wish I had gone with a different colorway just for me specifically, but it is what it is. It's not about the formula, it's strictly about the colors. And now I'm gonna go in with this one, and I'm gonna go into that brown shade, the almost matte brown, and just put some definition in my crease in my outer corner. See, and then it kind of ends up, maybe that's what I did. These ended up being a little bit more pigmented than I had expected, I think. And so maybe that's how I ended up kind of going heavy-handed in the first video. This heater is on and I'm about to be sweaty. I'm gonna grab this Wayne Goss E3. There. See, I think that looks way better than the look I had done the first time. Simpler, just kind of easier, lighter. Not bad. Everything, I'm gonna do eyebrows, lashes, lips off cam. Oh, no, I'm gonna try this, hold on. The heater's on and I feel like I'm suffocating, so I'm trying to be quick before I die because I need to open my window and I think it's loud outside. Okay, this is the old Burberry highlight. These were amazing, very nice, lovely. So just real quick. This is in the shade. See, sorry, I'm like looking at myself in the mirror too, and I just don't like this pink with this looks gray and it's brown. Why? Okay. Live and learn. Color matters for everyone. Okay. And you're allowed to like what you like. It doesn't have to look good for you to like it, but I don't like this on me. This brush isn't working well for this highlight. I'm stressed. Cute. Okay. I'm gonna finish this up off camera. I'm gonna open my window. I'll be back in a minute. I'm gonna be quick because I had to open my window and you're gonna be able to hear construction noises and my dog apparently walking around to look at them. I finished up my makeup, eyebrows, lashes, on my lips. I'm wearing a discontinued Burberry lipstick in their sheer formula called Cameo Rose. I believe this is the formula that's about to be re-released probably in the next few months, who knows. But kind of like my little tribute to them potentially coming out again. They're very nice, they're very comfortable, little sheer color. It is 11:30, so that's gonna be our wear test start time. I will once again try to do a midday check-in around 5 hours of wear. I'm just very bad at those because that's usually around dinner time. Maybe I'll set an alarm. And then I will of course check in at the very, very end of the day so you can see how this does after about 10 hours. And if there's anything important to update, I will update then. So if something drastic happens at the 3 hour mark, I'll let you know. What else? Oh, so I actually do think once I got mascara and a lipstick on that the colors were not bothering me nearly as much. However, I can see myself doing something different with my eye makeup. So this isn't really a wear test about the eyeshadow. They wear fine. They're a good powder formula. I just kind of feel like I'm in the mood for something more colorful. And I've been trying to use, I have a lot of indie eyeshadow palettes that are bright color. I'm trying to use them more instead of doing like a one and done eyeshadow look to justify me having all of them. Anyway, so I will see you all in a little bit and wish me luck on the construction noises. They're aggravating as heck. It is 5 o'clock, so that means we're doing a midday check-in in 5.5 hours. And I haven't looked at myself. I just remembered to do this before starting dinner. We had a storm, so the dogs are gonna have to wait to go outside until later, which is good for this, right? It's good for this. All right. I will also, this is natural light, which is a little dim. I think it looks fine to y'all, but to me it's sort of dim, so I may also turn on my ring light, but I think that that's gonna kind of wash it out. So far, we're looking very good though. No weirdness in this area where I normally get catching and all of that. Looks good on my forehead. I did redo my eyeshadow and there is some fallout that I couldn't get rid of. So that's the foundation's fault, that's my fault. And then this is the side that we powdered. This is the side that I powdered. And I don't think you can see much of a difference. There's definitely slightly less of a shine, a natural glow, if you will, on this side. And on my under eye, I think it's actually holding the concealer in place better on this side where I set it than on this side. But overall, man, light is so unflattering. Cameras just really let you see everything. I'm gonna turn on my light real quick. See what else you can see. Yeah, I think all the blurring effect of the powder is gone, but this side just is ever so slightly less shiny than this side still. And I haven't touched it up or anything. It's just how it is. But overall, this is wearing very nicely. Again, it's 5.5 hours. Stuff should wear well in the 5.5 hour mark. That's not, if it fails by 5.5 hours, it has failed. But I think it's looking very, very nice. It hasn't really started to wear away or anything at all. If anything, I think it's settled into the skin really nicely. So in those parts that are normally trouble areas for me, it's gotten better. And then there's a little bit of glow here. If I wanted to touch up with powder, it's not severe by any means, so that would go away really quickly, really easily. But I'm gonna leave it, I'm not gonna powder it, and we will check in again probably around 10:30. We're watching Better Call Saul for the first time, and we have 2 episodes left. So that's where I'll be tonight. And then I can finally start watching Love is Blind. Anyway, it's gonna be a hard pivot, but that's what I live for. See you in a few hours. It is 10:52, so we are, 11:30? So we're far closer to I can't math. We're almost at a 12-hour wear test. I guess it's 11.5-hour wear test. Anyway, and it's looking kind of amazing, all things considered. So I have my ring light on, and I'm gonna get real close. My chin, the problem area, is actually looking, I think, really good, especially for something that is a matte formula. So usually a matte formula would pick up on that texture, and it's not. My nose is looking a little rough, but I did touch my nose for some reason quite a lot, or I think I had an itch, or I don't know. This spot, around my mouth, the lines, that's looking pretty good. It didn't sink into those lines much. Forehead looks good, planes of the face look good. It did get shiny throughout the day, but not, there's shinier by a long shot, just for dry skin and not doing anything super strenuous. I did sweat twice because I'm out of shape and had to go upstairs, but yeah, and the blush and highlight's still there. Bronzer's still there, and so that just means that the foundation didn't fade away and those products didn't fade away. Overall, this is really, really, I'm very impressed. I'm excited that it looks this good as a matte foundation and it didn't really emphasize texture or anything like that. I'm excited to wear this one more. I'm especially excited to wear this one more in severe weather, in hotter weather. I do have I have another matte foundation that I want to post a review on, and I'm curious how I'll feel between the two of them. But this is really nice. It's super comfortable, wore really well. Like I said, we're nearing 12 hours and it's not doing any weird texture stuff. It's still there, so that's awesome. I have high hopes for how this one will continue to wear in weather, and I'll try to revisit this one specifically when the weather gets warmer, since it does claim to be humidity and sweat resistant, and I'd like to know how true that is. And like I said, I'll get very sweaty when it starts to get really hot here. So anyway, I hope this was useful. Let me know what you think about this one if you're interested in picking it up, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.